Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Wilhelm Scream, and welcome back to the channel for more Destiny 2 news and intel. And today was a pretty big one. We had the launch of Festival of the Lost for 2025. I actually think it's a pretty good event, but of course there are a few bugs and glitches, one of which will allow you to get double exotic class items instantly. So we're going to cover all of these things that you might want to know about this event, as well as all the other information regarding all the new cosmetics for this event. There are a plethora of them. But if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell to post notifications so you never miss out on any future Destiny 2 content like this. You can also follow me on Instagram. It'll be linked in the description box down below. Any of those things I just mentioned will also give you an entry into the next giveaway. For this channel, we do one every 1,000 subscribers, so you never want to miss out. And when we reach 100,000 subscribers on the channel, we'll be giving away a new console or a video card if you play on PC. You can also stick around till the end of the video for the secret hashtag you can leave in the comment section to be entered into that next giveaway a second time for this video. So first off, you're going to want to go and visit Ava Levant in the tower in order to pick up your new Festival of the Lost mask, or helmet really, as this will be something you can wear in order to equip the masks, though the helmet itself will actually count as a mask. So if you don't feel like wearing any of the decorative masks, you can just wear the helmet, and it will allow you to get any, well, candy from any source in the game currently. And that's going to be something that we talk about in a little bit. But of the two activities for Festival of the Lost, we have the Haunted Altars of Sorrow and Red Rumble. I played both of them. I think actually both are interesting. Certainly better than we've seen of any of the previous festivals as far as an event goes. I think anything, well, better than anything so far since the launch of Edge of Fate. Haunted Altars of Sorrow is very much like Onslaught for 6 people, sort of a mix of Onslaught and Altars of Sorrow. It's a pretty easy thing to understand. The mechanics are not too difficult. There are some mechanics. I actually think it was a very fun activity as far as the mechanics go, as there's these different enemies that will drop cowboy hats on the ground. You can pick up the cowboy hats and it'll give you a damage buff. You can also equip specific mods that will allow you buffs in those activities, like picking up a piece of candy grants Devour or grants an Overshield. Those are the two best ones in my opinion. You'll unlock those by playing any of the new activities. You might be able to play anything. I'm not totally sure about that. You might have to play the new activities. But I thought that was a really good activity, and I've been enjoying it. There is a pretty big bug with it that I think Bungie will have fixed probably by tomorrow's reset, but I'll talk about that in a second. The other event was the Red Rumble, which is essentially just Rumble, normal Crucible Rumble, but with a haunted one running around, a boss just running around in Rumble. As far as an idea goes, I think that this is a cool one, and I hope that Bungie starts to think outside the box a little bit more like they have with this one, though I would have probably picked Control over Rumble in order to do something like this. I think it would have been a little bit more fun trying to take out a boss with teammates, especially because you do get a big bonus towards your total score once you take out the boss, versus just trying to shoot away with 6 different people, all of whom are trying to kill you in the process. I think having a team element added to that, where you can make a push to get the boss and maybe come back in a match when you're down if you're being defeated just on kills alone, would have been fairly cool. You could have been also something where maybe you get a damage buff from defeating the boss. Who knows? Stuff like that I think would be very cool added to the game, and I'm just glad to see something new and different. And though it might just be throwing in a haunted one into a Rumble match, hey, it's something different. Same thing with Haunted Altars of Sorrow. Now, there are a bunch of new cosmetics available. There's a Cade mask that is very convincing, and shout out to my buddy Sinister. He actually has the full Cade outfit, and if you just saw him standing in the tower, you would assume it was Cade 6. The other thing that is back is the UFO ship, the extraterrestrial ship. I've been asked about this quite a bit, as it's one of my favorite ships. It is available for Bright Dust currently, I think only for the next week or so, but it is available. So you can buy it just from the store. You can also get all the new armor sets for 6,000 Bright Dust. So Bungie actually doing something that I hoped they would do, which is Everything, I believe, should, of course, be purchasable for silver if you want, but it should also be earnable for Bright Dust, in-game currency. Might be a high price tag, might take you a while, but I guarantee you most people will play and give the hours needed in order to actually pick up a cosmetic that they might want if they know that there is a chance that they can eventually earn it. So regardless of how much time you might have to put in, I know people will save up the Bright Dust. So all the new armor sets, as well as all previous armor sets, are available for 6,000 Bright Dust in the Eververse store. I think this is great. As far as cosmetics go, Bungie has been knocking it out of the park with this event. Specifically just for cosmetics, I know Haunted Altars of Sorrow might be a little bit of a drag just because it is a little bit broken, and I'll talk about that in just one second. But as far as cosmetics go, I think they've done a very good job in allowing people the chance to just earn these things. Now, as far as Altars of Sorrow goes, or Haunted Altars of Sorrow, as I said, it's a very fun event. I love being able to just run in with 6 players, especially those who are on my fire team. So the people that are in my clan, we can actually just get together, all 6 of us, we did immediately, and jump in. That, in and of itself, is great. And I think just having more 6-man activities that are match-made will help this game quite a bit. But we do raid all the time, my fire team and I, but something like this where you can literally just jump in, and it's not an easy activity. You can set the modifiers, you can make it as tough as you want, and just have fun with it is really cool. And of course, some might say, well, you could jump into Altars of Sorrow anyway. You could have, and when Altars of Sorrow was a new activity, I think we all did. But unfortunately, it hasn't really been relevant for quite some time. So seeing something like this, which I actually think is an improvement to Altars of Sorrow, there's a lot of enemies coming at you. There's a lot of different buffs. You can get pumpkins to drop that explode. You get the hats off of the enemies. You can stack them. I've stacked up to 3. I don't know if you can go further than that, but you actually have to shoot them off the enemies' heads. Your teammates can steal your hats. It's just a fun thing altogether. But as far as the boss, the final boss goes, there is a bit of a bug, and I'm going to tell you how to get around that. Now, of course, if you are playing this in a match-made team, it might be a little bit difficult, though I'm sure that the word on this will get out, and even though it should be fixed shortly, you shouldn't have too much trouble as long as you know this particular method, which is essentially making sure that you don't soft lock the boss. Now, when you get to the boss phase, there'll be the shriekers that come out around this center section before you kind of do your Empire Hunts chase lighting of the spheres thing that eventually allows you to do damage. When you do that, the shriekers will turn on and do damage to the boss. Now, once they turn on, you can do damage to the boss, but you don't want to. You want to wait until the shriekers have done their phase of damage and the eyes on them close. Now, once the eyes close, then you can do damage to the boss. Do this for at least the first phase of damage, maybe the second phase of damage. We were doing it for both. I don't know if it'll be necessary to do it for both. But essentially, you just want to make sure that the shriekers are closed before you do any one bit of damage. It will help you out quite a bit, and it'll allow you to defeat the boss. If you don't do this, you will soft lock the damage phase, which means you will not be able to complete the encounter. This has been happening a lot just because people are able to do so much damage to the boss. It doesn't have a lot of hit points that they can actually burn through more than 1 damage phase, and it's supposed to be 2 damage phases quickly. And I think the reason that this is happening is because this boss is actually, if you look over the top of their head while you're in combat, made for 3 damage phases, yet once you actually reach a damage phase, you'll see that it's only 2. So the boss is coded for 3 damage phases, yet the activity is only giving you 2 damage phases in order to defeat the boss. I don't know if they intended it to be 3 damage phases and we only got 2, or they just threw a 3 damage phase boss in here quickly and they didn't code it correctly. It sounds more like the latter than the former. But in any case, if you just make sure that the shriekers do their damage first, have the eyes get closed, and then do that first phase of damage, you shouldn't have any trouble. And then I think do the same thing for the second phase of damage. Just let them do their damage and then jump on the boss and finish off the encounter. The loot for this event is also pretty plentiful. There is a lot of stuff that you can get. All the new weapons are very, very good. You can get all tier 5s from either of the new activities, either Haunted Altars of Sorrow or Red Rumble. So I would encourage everybody to play this. As you can see in the clip behind me, this was one of those runs where we got the soft lock bug. In the previous clip, we did the process how you're going to need to do it, at least until Bungie fixes this. Now, as far as exotic class items go, you might have noticed that you can get exotic class items from Ava Levant. They are available to buy, and as I've tried to prepare my audience, once you buy the exotic class items for candy from Ava Levant, they will be unlocked. So essentially doing the task that Dual Destiny, the Dual Destiny mission, the only other way to unlock exotic class items, does. Now, normally you'd have to do the Dual Destiny mission. At the end of Dual Destiny, you'll get an exotic class item, and then you can farm exotic class items from any source. Once you complete Dual Destiny and get one, they unlock. Once you purchase one with candy from Ava Levant, they are also unlocked. So it does the same thing, and you'll never need to do Dual Destiny ever again, or ever. You can then go and farm them from any location where exotic class items drop. So that's any place in the Pale Heart, if anybody goes to the Pale Heart. You'll also be able to buy them from Xur for strange coins. You'll also be able to buy them for candy. Now, the only difference between doing the Dual Destiny mission and just unlocking them for candy from Ava Levant is that when you do the Dual Destiny mission, you can then focus your exotic class items for specific roles through the ghost in the Pale Heart. You will not be able to do that if you unlock them just for candy. However, if you have the ability to focus exotic class items, and then you go and focus them and go back to Ava Levant, you can buy them with candy and they will be focused. So if you have completed Dual Destiny, you can focus your exotic class items through the ghost in the Pale Heart and then buy them for candy from Ava Levant. And if you have them focused, you will get 2. I don't know if it's for the very first buy, but you will get 2 exotic class items for the price of 1 when you buy them for candy. So if you can focus exotic class items, make sure you go and focus a role at the Pale Heart first, and then when you purchase an exotic class item for candy from Ava Levant, it will drop 2. So just keep that in mind. I think that's a pretty big thing. I think it's great that people who have never had exotic class items before will now be able to unlock them and farm them. Xur has them every weekend now, so you'll be able to get plenty of rolls. All the rolls will be random if you unlock them purely through Ava Levant. So still a good thing. I don't really think there's that many random rolls anymore. It seems like I've been getting a lot of the same rolls. I think there's an exotic class item rework coming down the pike here somewhere soon. But in any case, if you can focus them, you can get 2 at a time, or at least on the first buy from Ava Levant. Otherwise, you can just purchase them for candy, and you're going to be getting a ton of candy from Haunted Altars of Sorrow as well as Red Rumble. Now, there is another way to farm out exotic class items at the moment, and that is simply by farming out a ton of candy, as all you need is candy in order to buy exotic class items. So how do you get a lot of candy? Well, you can get candy from any source in the game so long as you have a mask equipped. Now, there is an old farm that has gotten even better recently since the Final Shape launched, and that is the old Whisper mission. Now, if you're able to do the Whisper mission and get down to the green room where there is infinite Shadow Thrall spawning, you can just stay in that room for as long as you want. And as long as you have a mask equipped, you can farm out the Shadowed Thrall, and they will drop candy. They'll drop all the same stuff that you would see in Haunted Altars of Sorrow. They'll even drop the hats. But the interesting thing about this is where the old Whisper mission, where we used to do the same kind of farm, had a timer where you could only go into the green room and stay there until the timer for the mission ran out, because the whole mission was timed. In the new version, if you go through the portal, the timer may run out, but the timer only has to do with your final rewards at the end of the Whisper mission. But you're not interested in getting those rewards, you're just interested in farming out candy. the timer can run out and you can still stay in that room for as long as you want. So you can stay in the green room now and farm Shadow Thrall for candy for an infinite period of time. And there are many ways that you can make that farm really easy. There's plenty of ways where you can set up your character to do most of the heavy lifting for you, either through turrets or arc buddies or any stuff like that, and essentially making it AFK. Hunters might have the most difficult time, though I don't think too difficult. Titans will probably have the easiest time, and Warlocks probably a pretty easy time as well. So if you're just looking to farm out candy, maybe a little AFK farming while you're sleeping, of course, you can't use any specific types of macros anymore. Bungie has banned that. But if you're on console, or if you have a way of just making sure that you never stop firing, so maybe just throwing a rubber band around your controller, you can stay in this room for as long as you want and farm a bunch of candy. So maybe not the go-to farm, but certainly something you can do if you need to be doing other things, maybe like sleeping. Anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know about that as well. And the great thing about that farm too is that you don't actually have to pick up any of the candy off the ground. Even if you die in there, all the candy that has dropped on the ground will be sent to your postmaster. So you can always just farm to your heart's content. Maybe you die, you know, who knows. But then all that was dropped on the ground, you don't have to worry about picking it up. You can just go to your postmaster and it will still be there. But Festival of the Lost overall, I would give a solid 8 out of 10. I would have given it a 9 out of 10 had the Altars of Sorrow not been bugged at the launch. But I think just overall, having all the new events, strange as they might be, bugged as they might be, are great for the game. I think the loot is great. I think having access to exotic class items for the majority of players is amazing. I think the fact that this is the only event that actually gives out exotic class items is a shame. I think they should really make it available for all events, and that would encourage new players, because otherwise you have to wait a year. I have literally been telling people for a year since the last Festival of the Lost and exotic class items were available that they will be able to get them again next year. And I have literally had people ask me that entire time about how to get them, as doing dual destiny is just not something that people do a lot of. Probably it's because you need to find a competent teammate, you need to be able to communicate. It's not matchmaking. I personally think it should be added to the portal somehow and just have a mandatory opt-in on voice chat so that people can get through it. Because I think even if you don't know the mechanics, if people can communicate, they'll haphazardly make their way through it and maybe make a new friend in the process. But in any case, if you don't plan on doing that, or if Bungie doesn't plan on doing that, then I think the fact that they are available through the Festival of the Lost and should be available through all the other events should be just a thing. Hopefully they'll make it a thing. They've certainly done better with the cosmetics than they did during the Iron Banner Ashen Iron event. And yeah, just having all that stuff available in order to earn, or can be earned, is a great thing. We also have this amazing ship, which I just wanted to point out. I believe that that is Savathun's ship, if I'm correct. Can't wait to get that one. And that is also just through the festival rewards. So great stuff all around. Hopefully the Haunted Altars of Sorrow is fixed by tomorrow's reset. In the meantime, just make sure that you do the method that I mentioned, where you don't do damage until the Shrieker eyes are closed on the first phase of damage. If you have focused exotic class items, make sure you do that before you go pick up any exotic class items from Ava Levant. And you can get 2 at a time, 2 different roles. And if you didn't have exotic class items, enjoy them and farm out some easy candy, maybe in your downtime when you don't have a chance to play. You can just set up one of those farms. But if you do have a chance to play, I encourage everybody to jump into the new activities and enjoy them while we have them. But that is going to conclude all the information in today's video. Hopefully you found something in this video helpful. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell to post notifications so you never miss out on any future Destiny 2 content like this. Remember, you can also follow me on Instagram. If you've watched till this point in the video, you can leave a hashtag Festival of the Lost, if you hadn't guessed, a hashtag Archie, because I have been wearing his mask, or a hashtag Haunted Altars of Sorrow, or hashtag Red Rumble in the comments section down below for another entry into the next giveaway. And once more, I'm Wilhelm Scream. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the week. We'll have more information to bring along the way. And of course, we will see you next time.